under the umbrella of Climate Week New York City. This is a panel called The Road to Environmental Justice, Financing Gender Equality and Women's Rights. And if I told you, make the list of the favorite people working on gender and climate, make the list. They're all here. We had a summit with more than 100 leaders speaking yesterday at the UN. And we have 47 NDCs that have been submitted so far out of 198. And that represents around 25% of emissions. My question is, where are the rest 75%? Climate change may push 240 million more additional women and girls into food insecurity by 2050, compared to 131 million of men and boys, as women and girls are really taking, the heat literally of the climate shocks and impact. And we really hope that the COP of women for women, and we are worried that we are having our 30th COP and emissions continue to grow and continue to hurt women.
These are very tough times. Yesterday, Hindou and myself helped to launch the second planetary health check. And the news is not good. It's about the 9 planetary boundaries, meaning the 9 ecosystems that sustain the planet and the world and ourselves. And last year, we were in breach of 6 of those 9 ecosystems. This year, we're in breach of 7, and the 7th is the oceans, the acidification of the oceans. These boundaries, these ecosystems interact with each other. The acidification of the oceans threatens the coral reefs, but it's all solvable. All we have to do is switch the money in a massive way, get out of fossil fuel, stop subsidizing what's harming us, etc. We know what to do. But unfortunately, leaders are not in crisis mode. So we really need to put pressure, first of all, on heads of state coming to Berlin. Berlin is so important. Secondly, we do need much better ambition in the NDCs, and we need the Gender Action Plan, all of that. They would solve the problem, and we have a responsibility, all of us, to make it happen. Thank you.
What's incredible about Mary is her optimism.
Yeah.
No, I'm a prisoner of hope.
And because if you walk in the street, perhaps someone can say, yes, we can solve the issue. The problem is that she understands how bad reality is, and still, she has her hope level high.
Yes, we need to be very, very clear that the voices, and in today's world, the voices that are heard are the ones that are winning the battle in social media, right? So, but we need to see how we can capture that. And that is, yes, we need to work through social media, but we also need to be active, present, really, really present for this. At the national level, in the communities, at school, at work, everywhere.
Climate action, climate agenda is the best alternative which unites all of us. It's the best alternative to the arms race that we see now happening. So this is something that humanity has never done before. They were coming from small island states, for example. They were saying that every time we go back, we don't know whether we will be able to go back because our country, the level of ocean is rising, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
The more we experience and see the pains caused by climate change, we realize that they are increasingly connected to conflict.
We've got to get ourselves into a spirit of movement that just brings in extraordinary numbers of people, men and women. 13 of the 15 most vulnerable countries on climate are also experiencing some form of conflict. So climate is now a security issue. and increasingly has to be recognized and such.
First row, women have to be first row. That we know.
The second worst floods ever in history, the fourth time that it's floods of the century that should never happen, and those make the headlines. What doesn't make the headlines is the incredible heat stress that happens every single year in Pakistan for the last 5-6 years. Temperatures reaching over 50 degrees. 50 degrees. And over 40 degrees for months on end. It just never dips, right? So if you want to think about the impact of climate on the people who contribute the least to the climate crisis, think about the women and girls from my village, which regularly face these heat stresses, and then as relief comes and the monsoon comes, get devastating floods. Absolutely 6 feet of water staying there for a month. When Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, said we will no longer be the charity of the world, that to me was a moment of like, good gosh, this is never coming back again. Pull up a chair where we're not invited, but also mobilize millions and millions of people around the world to actually make this happen.
I think the solutions that we come to when we welcome love into a space are so different from the solutions where we leave our love at the door. And I think, in some sense, the invitation for women's leadership and women's participation and funding for women is actually not just because, certainly, not just because of women as a class or a group of rights holders, but because the solutions for all of humanity and nature and the earth and future generations will be made better by the participation of diverse voices. It's a different way of approaching participation, but it's about humility. And humility is dramatically devalued across the street. If you're humble, if you admit that you don't know something, your career could be over. What kind of world is that? We have to always be learning.
It's about understanding where are our limits. It's about deep listening, and at the end of the day, it is about love.
And I think we still need to call the attention of our presidency to give greater voices to women. And I think there are some specific things that we can achieve at this COP. So we are able to track whether or not we have made progress in terms of supporting, for instance, adaptation policies and measures that benefit women. We need to make sure that we are also thinking of social protection mechanisms to support those women as we transition to low carbon economy. We need to ask ourselves how much of that money is actually going to women and women-led organizations, and then we need to have a gender lenses to address that. And yes, and to conclude, I think we need to shift the power dynamics of the system in general, especially at the leadership position. And I'm glad that Nigar is here because I think the roadmap is an entry point where we at least start asking the question, where is the money and how can we make it reach women?
But all that are the crises that are increasing around the world. They are not decreasing. Every single day we sleep, we wake up, we have something new to be added in our agenda for thousands of years. We are not moving in the right directions because we are not destructive. We are not giving back to the world. So, from this analogy, to get out from the crisis, we need to be bold. We need to be courageous because we are lacking of this courage. We need to tell the truth. Africa has been through so many sorry ways, from the colonization to the slavery to all the things, and now to the climate impact that we didn't create. And we just receive sorry every single time? That's not acceptable at all, and this is the justice we wanted to have. And finally, we are talking about finance for the women's rights. Where are we with the finance? We talk a lot about the funding in numbers. I'm happy Baku will progress, but it's still numbers. We do not see the real cash in the tables. The money is not there. It's wrong. The money is there. We cannot anymore accept we protect the nature for nothing and other people's just to say like, oh, let's include indigenous peoples. Let's have them. They are very important. But no, We wanted to have the money to be in our communities, the direct access cash. Even the men are not ready to do that, so we have to grab it. Really, we have to grab this rock. The men are building the world, and we do not agree for the future of our children.